So there's a new Star Wars film. What do you think? Did you like it? Does it measure up? Will it fit in with the original? Well, anyone who knows anything about Rogue One is bound to ask questions.
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
It is, after all, one of those side stories that exists in the same universe as the beloved original films. Yes, a certain Vader guy named Darth is here, and yes, it does have something to do with one of the key Star Wars films. But this isn't a chance for Carrie Fisher to put on her bikini or Harrison Ford to fire up the old Millennium Falcon. It's a related story that introduces us to a whole host of new characters. Front and center, Jyn Erso, played by Felicity Jones. She's a recruit in the Rebel Alliance who's brought along to help find her father, a science officer with the Empire and held responsible for creating the Death Star. She's led by Captain Cassian Andor, played by Diego Luna, and abetted by so many stray new characters you have trouble keeping them all straight. Directed by Gareth Edwards, the new side story introduces us to K2SO.
I will not kill you.
A droid with plenty of attitude, and a bad guy named Orson Krennic who dresses in all white. They're key players and a link to what's going on back with the Star Wars Trinity. While there's plenty to consider, the film's storyline is fairly straightforward, giving us another cast of characters to muddy the Empire waters. Like the original Star Wars films, this doesn't tip the hand of the villains and heroes. It takes a while to determine who's what, but the ride is just as exhilarating as you might think. Rogue One has force, even if it's a force we've seen several times before.
I'm not moving to Boston, Uncle Lee.
No, I don't want to talk about that
You
right
said
now.
he left you money so you could move.
Yeah, that doesn't mean...
Anyway, what's in Boston? You're a janitor.
So what?
You could do that anywhere. There's plenty of toilets and clogged up drains all over
I
town.
don't want...
Also this week, Manchester by the Sea opens across the country, and it's one of those dramas you're going to be hearing a lot about in the coming months. That's because Casey Affleck is brilliant as a handyman who comes into his nephew's life and helps him deal with a death in the family.
No.
Affleck's character has more than a little baggage, but he's willing to unpack just to help his nephew cope. The teenager, meanwhile, appears to be doing just fine. He still plays hockey, dates 2 girls at once, and eyeballs a happily ever after better than his uncle. Written and directed by Kenneth Lonergan, the drama includes plenty of flashbacks to help understand the family dynamic and why Affleck is reluctant to be the boy's new guardian. Michelle Williams makes an impression too as Affleck's ex-wife, particularly when she's forced to deal with her own pain.
Where are we going, to the orphanage?
Shut up.
Can't take this on.
Although it deals with death and heartache, Manchester by the Sea has plenty of humor and that soaring performance by Affleck. Watch as he haltingly reaches out and you'll understand why so many peers think he's the real deal. The work is masterful. Will Smith opens a vein too as a man dealing with similar loss in Collateral Beauty. Co-starring Helen Mirren, the drama shows how he deals with those why me questions and figures out how seemingly awful circumstances can actually be a meaningful part of the circle of life. Directed by David Frankel, Collateral Beauty is another example of Smith at his best, when he's not saving the world and looking instead at the person inside. Of the 3, Manchester by the Sea is the best. It's also one of the best films of the year. With your movies in a minute, I'm Bruce Miller.